Welcome back. This is From Battle to Business with your host, Dean Van Dyke. And today I am truly excited to have the Dave Albin, the number one firewalk instructor in America. Welcome, Dave.
Hey, man. Thanks, Dean. Thanks for having me, man.
Like I said before show, I was watching your videos on your website and we're sending all the folks there with the show notes and everything. But the before and after, I just
Yeah.
blows my mind. I
Yeah.
mean, literally. And so tell us who you are, in 60 seconds or less, which I know might be a struggle with what you've been doing for the last 30 years, but tell us who you are and let's get into it.
I'm one of the most blessed men on the planet, brother. A few years ago, I got talked into going to a Tony Robbins seminar, and I found out they were going to do a firewalk, and I said, no, I ain't doing that, but I want to go see Tony. And I got some help, and they got me across that fire. And it was literally one of the most life-changing experiences I had ever experienced. And I fell in love with it. And I saw what was happening. I saw that transition. I saw what it was like to look at somebody, on the one side of the fire, scared to death. 4 seconds later, they're a brand new human being. So, I got involved with Tony's companies, and they hired me as a subcontractor later on after I had volunteered crewed 5 or 6 times. In 2003, I took over all of Tony's firewalks globally. '05, we set a world record in London, 12,300 in 2014 to move this along, man. Google called me and said, hey, you're the Dave Albin does the firewalks for Tony. We'd like to talk to you about hiring you. So that's pretty much, so I've had this responsibility really to take people who are dealing with a lot of crap, no matter what it is.
Mhm.
Most of it's all fear-based, and we crush it. And so like me, when I walked up to the fire the first time, it was forget everything and run. And of course, after the firewalk, it was face everything and rise. Right after I firewalked, right? I was like, get the bus, man. Let's get on it. Let's go climb Everest. It's like, that's what you feel, man. It's exhilarating.
So
It is.
why is it such a life-changing? I mean, I get it. You're walking across 1,000-degree coals and you showed me
Yeah.
some of the coals, before we hit record, but why is it such a life-changing experience?
Well, I think we have to go way back, man. It's 1,000 years old. First of all, let's start there. If you look around at different cultures around the world, that's dominant. They've been doing it there forever.
Hmm.
The Phoenicians, the people of India. Oh my gosh, the people of India, they use it for graduations. They use it for manhood, womanhood. They do it when a child is born. It's very ceremonial. It's very spiritual to them.
Hmm.
And it's a rite of passage, which we don't have in America anymore. Where's the rites of passage? They aren't here.
That's true.
And so, right, so they use it for that purpose. And so do the Hawaiians, so do the Polynesians, so do the Indo-Europeans. Hell, the Indo-Europeans used it when they're warriors before they would go into battle the night before they would do the firewalk. The people of Portugal, I mean, the people of Spain, it's all over. So what happens? It's hard to explain. I don't know. I just know that there's something about looking down at coals that are 1,000 degrees, scared to death. Your heart's going to jump out of your chest. And all of a sudden, there's that definitive moment. Boom, and you walk. And here's the beauty. When you take the first step, oh, you'll take the second, third, and fourth, and fifth. I guarantee you that. You're not going to stop.
No,
And so it proves to you that there is more. It proves to you that, yes, trust the process, and you too can walk on fire.
wow.
Because, again, if you can walk on coals that are 1,000 degrees, the next question you may ask yourself is, what else can I do?
That's got to be the next question. I mean, how do you not ask that question?
Well, I think it's already there. You're already going to think about it. Wow, I just walked on coals. And I think what happens is you start to piece together, well, what else is fear taken from me? Fear's a liar.
It is.
Right? So fear's there to keep you alive so we don't do dumb shit things and kill ourselves. On the other hand, though, it tells you all kinds of stuff. Oh, don't ask her to dance. She'll tell you no. She'll think you're an idiot. And your buddies will make fun of you. It starts off in grammar and junior high school, stuff like that, right? I'm not going to try out for baseball. I'm not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not this. I'm not that. I got fear of this, fear of that. It's all fear. Well, I was just going to finish it up by saying, look, the fears we don't overcome become our limits. If somewhere along the line you don't learn to deal with fear, let me tell you something. Fear is going to deal with you, whether you like it or not. And so people can make fun of it all they want. Fine, go ahead. I don't care. The fire doesn't care. Nobody cares, especially the ones that have walked, especially the ones that have benefited. You know, if you really want to see what it's like to see it visually, so you can actually see what it's like before somebody walks and then they walk, go watch Oprah. Go Google it. Go Google Oprah's Firewalk. It's there, 2010, LA Convention Center. She was losing her. And then there's all of a sudden, there's this moment. She has it. And the beautiful part is she walks, she celebrates like a child during Christmas, morning. She's jumping up and down. She's having a really good time. And then she walks over, the cameras go with her, and she makes one of the biggest business decisions of her life. She created what's called the next chapter. So that's a really powerful place to make a decision from. Why? Because you're in a peak state.
Right.
You are elevated. Your brain is on full alert, man. You are moving and you are thinking, and knowledge and wisdom is just filling you. So it's a beautiful place to be. And I just happened to be the guy that was, I don't know, right place, right time, part of it. Because at the end of the day, when I went to my first Tony Robbins seminar in 1995, I was not going to do it. That was a hard no for me. Hell no. I want to go see Tony, but I'm not doing it. Well, when my buddy and I got there, Tony took the stage at 2:00 in the afternoon. And the next thing I know, it's after midnight. Oh, and wow. So we've been in a room with Tony for 10 hours, and that's very common. In fact, in the instructions, when you go to a Tony Robbins seminar, they tell you, bring snacks.
Do they really? Wow.
Oh, yeah. You need to hydrate. You need to drink a lot of water, bring snacks, bring a good attitude, be ready to play full out, man. You're going to know you're in a seminar. I can tell you that. Nothing like it. And so after midnight, all of a sudden he goes, take your shoes off. And I'm like, oh, no. Pal. I know where you're going with that one. You're not tricking my ass, man. But here's my problem, Dean. I'm in a room with 3,500 people, and guess what they're doing?
Taking their shoes off.
They're taking their damn shoes off. And I'm like, people, no, don't fall for it. Man, don't go towards the light,
Yeah.
And so now my dilemma is, what are you going to do, Dave? What are you going to walk out there with your shoes on? Everybody's going to know you're a chicken shit. So, all right, well, it's all right. Relax. Just take your shoes off. When we get out there, go hide in the back. No one's going to know. Well, or so I thought. Right now, by the way, when he's got you going out there, he's got everybody clapping and chanting. So you got 3,500 people walking outside this big parking lot to do the firewalk, and they're like, yes, yes, yes. I'm walking out there going, no, I ain't falling for this, right? Well, it gets worse. You get out there, and he's got African drummers. So then it's intense, right? Dun, 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 dun. It's like, oh, what a dog and pony show, man. And so, how do you walk 3,500 people logistically? Well, first of all, you start with a really big fire. So it's like 35 feet wide, 70 feet long. And they burn this fire all day. And they just keep adding cords after cord after cord of wood to it. Well, at the end of the night, it renders. And you have this big, giant, beautiful pile of coals. They're blue. They are gorgeous. I mean, from afar, it looks so beautiful, right? So what they do, Dean, is they take a wheelbarrow over there and they shovel the coals into the wheelbarrow. Then they bring a wheelbarrow in between two lanes of sod, of grass, which is 3 feet wide, about 15 to 18 feet long. Mm-hmm. And then they sprinkle the coals on top of that grass with a flathead shovel. That's what you walk on. Well, again, I go hide in the back, man. I'm having none of it. Well, look, Tony knows that this is one of the most life-changing paradigm shift experiences on earth. That's why he brought it to his seminars, a quarter of a century ago. He knows. He did his research. He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
And so he also knows he's going to be people like me, and he wants to make sure we don't miss out. Because if he can't get us across that fire, he can't create the paradigm shift. Right. So what's he do? He trains people to come find you. And I'm not thinking this, right? I'm thinking I'm safe, man. I'm hiding in the back. And all of a sudden, here comes this guy, man. Comes out of nowhere, and he gets about 20, and he makes eye contact with me, and he won't take his eyes off me. I'm sure they got trained to do that too, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so all of a sudden he stops, he gets about 20 feet from me, and he looks at me really funny, like, a dog when it hears a funny noise, twists its head, right? And he goes, hey man, are you okay? And of course I'm not. And when we're not okay, we lie. right? We always go, oh yeah, well, I'm good. No problem here. Move along. Nothing to see here, pal. And all of a sudden the guy goes, hey man, you gonna walk tonight? I'm like, absolutely not. What? Are you kidding? Why the hell do you think I'm hiding in the back? Right. And he goes, hey man, listen, it's no problem. No worries. We don't want you to do anything you don't want to do. And I was like, oh wow, okay. He's gonna get me out of here. No, he's not. Because the next question, this stranger, who I do not know to this day, I wish I did. This guy not only changed my life, but he helped me change tens of hundreds of thousands of people's lives.
Right.
He said, wouldn't you at least like to watch? And I thought, well, sure. I can watch, right? Let's go watch these people burn their feet off. This will be entertaining. Well, from where I'm standing, Dean, I got 3,500 people standing in front of me, right? I can't see anything. I can see the big fire over there. I can hear it. They're clapping, they're chanting, they're screaming and yelling in celebration because they're already firewalking. The drums are going. Yeah, I can hear it, but I can't see anything because I got a wall of people. So I get in line. And I took the bait, right? I got in line and I'm kind of walking along. And the next thing, this guy comes up to me and he whispers in my ear, kind of loudly though, he's like, he knows when you're ready. When he says go, you go. And pew, this guy just disappeared into the night. I'm like, what was that? Who was that? What was that about?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of chugging along, right? And again, can't see anything, but I get to one point and I can see at an angle. I can see over here, not in here, but I can see over here. And I'm looking and I'm mesmerized, right? It's like, you tell yourself you're not going to look at a car accident. What do? You stare at it, right?
Yep.
And I'm staring at it. And they're doing it, man. Every race, every creed, every color, they're firewalking. And my brain is going, what in the hell? Why are they doing this? What's metaphorically here? What's happening? Why would people do this, right? So I'm struggling with all the questions that anybody that's ever faced or thought about or talked about firewalking is facing. And as I'm mesmerized, I keep walking and boom. Next thing I know, guess where I am?
Front of the line.
Front of the line, baby. And I'm staring at that lane. That lane's 3 feet wide. It's 18 feet long. The coals are bright red. My heart is pumping out of my chest. And there's a wheelbarrow there. You can feel the heat coming off. So it gets real fast. Well, as I'm staring into the abyss, there's a trainer standing right there. And all of a sudden the trainer goes, eyes up. And all of a sudden, oh shit, he's talking to me. Yeah, eyes up. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm in a room with Tony Robbins for 10 hours. What did he teach me to do? Keep my eyes up. Don't stare at what you fear. Interesting metaphor, right?
Oh,
so now my eyes are up and he goes, squeeze your fist and say yes. And I went, yes. And he went, stronger. And I went, yes. Well, he could tell, right? I'm not in a peak state. I'm leaving a lot on the table and he knew it. And so he got in my face and screamed at me. And so I threw my hands in the air and I screamed yes as loud as I could. And he goes, go, go, go. Pooh. I took off. Remember the guy? He knows when you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
When he says go, you go. I went. Again, the first thing you learn about firewalking is you take that first step. You will take that second, third, fourth, and fifth. I promise you. Well, what Tony does is we stage a couple of people at the end and they catch you. And they're like, stop, wipe your feet and celebrate. And I'm wiping my feet and I'm celebrating. And all of a sudden I go, oh my God, I've burnt myself really bad. And I look at my foot and it's dirty, but there's no burns.
Wow.
My other foot, right? No, it's dirty too, but there's no burns. And so now I'm standing there going, I just walked on coals that were 1,000 degrees and I don't know how I did it. I have no clue, none. But I'll take credit for it. That's right, guys. I did that. I'm your guy, right? And so you're down there with 3,000 people and you're celebrating and they're jumping up and down. And it's exhilarating. As I said earlier, now where's the bus? Let's go climb Everest. Because in that moment, you think you can do anything. You're invincible. But here's where it gets really interesting, Dean, and this is why I'm on your podcast tonight. The next day, this is a 4-day event. It's called Unleash the Power Within, the Firewalk Experience. 4-day event. Day 1, the evening of, you do the firewalk. Now we're in day 2. So we're in the foyer and we're getting ready to go into the venue. It's day 2 in the morning of. And to this day, I've never seen or witnessed anything like it in my life. This is the way people should be getting along, especially if you don't know one another. They're talking, they're communicating, they're laughing, they're crying, they're hugging, they're exchanging stories. It's so beautiful to see a group of people like that who are pretty much perfect strangers,
Mm-hmm.
how beautifully they were getting along. In 2020, we all got shredded, right?
That we did.
So now, guess what? You there? You're not shredded there because it puts you back in the humanistic mode of what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to love each other, care for each other, share the experiences, and work to get together for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's about. Well, later in the event, I met one of Tony's trainers, and I'm talking to him, and I said, Ted Macy, sweet guy, love him to death. Him and his wife, both married. They're both trainers for Tony years ago. And I said, so Ted, tell me about what it's like to be in this environment on a regular basis. He goes, oh, brother. He goes, are you kidding? This is phenomenal. And you should do anything you can do to get into this environment. He says, I'll tell you a little secret. He said, you see those people standing over there with the black shirts on with the pink writing on the back? I said, yeah. He goes, dude, they're volunteers. They're just like you. What they did is they called Robin's Research. Robin's Research sent them an application. They filled it out. They sent it back and they got selected. Do it, bro. Go fill one out when you get home. I did. 9 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail and it said, Dave Albin, congratulations. You've been selected to crew with the Anthony Robbins companies. Well, cover my ass happy, man. I'm in the door. So I did my first event in Fort Lauderdale, Florida back in 1995. And again, I crewed a couple times, probably 5 or 6. And I'm spending a couple $1,000, by the way, every time I do that. Well, my wife isn't liking it. Who the hell is Tony Robbins? I don't know who Tony Robbins is. What? You're spending $1,500, $2,000 every time you go back to one of these events? What's going on? So she didn't like it. And I don't blame her. I wouldn't have liked it either, right? Well, the beauty is I had a military background and I had a security background. And I lived on a farm. So I knew how to use tools and axes and split wood and log splitters. So then they offered me a subcontracting position. Did 2 things. One, they put me on the fire team as an assistant captain. And they put me on the security team to help take care of Tony's celebrities. And they did another thing, real smart. They gave me a ticket, and I brought my wife. And so I took her to an event, right? And so she went, spent the weekend, did the whole thing. She drank the Kool-Aid, every drop. and after she graduated, we took a walk on the beach that night, and she looked at me. She goes, "Okay, I get it. I'm in. This guy's a cool dude. Something going on here. So if you want to roll with this guy and run with him, you do that. You have my support. As long as they pay your way, it's all good, man." And so, that developed into the fire captain position. I took over in 2003. And then again, we went to London, went to the Docklands, the Excel Center, and we firewalked the world record, 12,300 people. Now I want to disclose, Guinness was not there. But here's what I can tell you. There's never been a firewalk anywhere on the planet other than a Tony Robbins seminar with 12,300 people.
That's a lot of people.
Huh?
That's a lot of people.
It was a lot of people. And we firewalked them in right at an hour, a little over an hour. I think it was an hour and 7 minutes.
Wow.
Pretty fast. Of course, we had a lot of lanes, right? So, and when people are firewalking, they're going. Dean, they're not lollygagging. They're moving at a high rate of speed. So They go pretty quickly. And then, like I said, in 14, boom, Google called me. "Hey, are you available? We'd like to hire you." "Sure am." And that's when Firewalk Productions was born. And we've been going hot and heavy ever since. No pun intended.
Yeah, 1,000 degrees hot. So,
right.
Pre-show, we were talking, you got an event coming up in April, and I really want to get the word out about that event. So
thank you.
Let's dive into it. We know we lose many brothers and sisters every day. Every single day we lose too many. So what are you doing in April?
Yeah.
To help? And
yes. So, first of all, thank you for opening this up, because we need all the help we can get. Yeah, we're losing approximately 40 men and women a day who are taking their own lives that are veterans. Mm-hmm. And so I got asked in a recent podcast, by the way, said, "Hey, Dave, have you ever done a podcast, have you ever done a firewalk for veterans?" And I said, "Not specifically." And she said, "Would you consider it?" She goes, "We need you. We need this life-changing experience in our community." And I said, "Absolutely." So we've got our first event lined up. We're really, really excited. My buddy Ed, who is he is the president of the Rotary in Modesto, California. So his Rotary sponsoring it. So we're real thankful to the Modesto Rotary, and it's going to be on April 13th. And if you, I can't invite the general public because it's specifically for vets. What I can invite you is if you're a corporate potential sponsor and you want to come check it out to see if you'd like to, have us come into your city and do an event for you for the vets, we'll definitely invite you to come out and be part of it. The other thing we have three other categories that we're opening up as well. First responders. Unfortunately, there's these men and women a lot take their life as well. We have single moms, and then we also have kids that have been bullied or kids that need love and support. So we bring a lot to the table. For the veterans, we're going to give them a medallion that says something special. We're going to have them put that medallion and squeeze really hard to remind them of the pain that their friends and family are going to suffer immensely if they decide to take their own life. I've got my friends over at the Zippo Lighter Company. I love these guys. Got to light your fire with something, right? Why not make it a Zippo, right? There we go. If you can see it with my logos on it. So I went to Zippo and said, hey, here's what's going on. Would you guys like to be involved? They said, absolutely. So I went up and spent a day and a half with them. And they were so cool. They're such a great company. They're up in Bradford, Pennsylvania. They got started in 1932. And in 1933, they actually manufactured their first lighter. They just recently, here in 2003, they've manufactured over 700 million lighters. So what they're going to do, they've been making lighters for a long time, started back in the 30s. During World War II, they made a lighter in 1941, and they made it specifically for our GIs that got deployed to Europe to fight the Germans. I know, my father had one. So they're going to take the 1941 replica, they're going to powder coat it black, and then they're going to laser Operation Do No Harm into the lighter. They're going to be sick. They're going to be so gorgeous. So Zippo's doing that for us. We've been in communication with MIT 45, an incredible kratom company out of Salt Lake City. We've been in touch with Black Rifle Coffee Company. Any of the vets, man, we all know what Black Rifle's about. These guys are an incredible organization. They're all vets as well. We've been in touch with doTERRA, which is an essential oil company. They're going to be helping us with the process of the whole firewalk. So when they firewalk, they're going to smell this and create an anchoring effect so they can remember that experience. And all they got to do is smell it, and it'll take them right back to that place in time. We all know that, right? We smell something once in a while and it reminds your grandma's house. Well, guess what? Same thing. We got an essential oil here that's going to remind them of the firewalk experience. So we got a bunch of things going on, and again, we need all the help we can get. So right now we're looking for corporate sponsors who want to bring us into their city and, put on an event and, get your brand out there in front of this movement, save veterans, first responders, single moms, and abused kids' lives. And we'll make your company look really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing what you guys are doing. I mean, just the life-changing, just hearing you talk, and I can't wait to listen to the recording, but the life-changing experience of going, you said yourself, I wasn't fired up enough. I wasn't at my peak state.
No.
Once you were there, you heard go and you just walked. You didn't look down. You just went. And the way you were describing it, I could tell you were reliving it. I mean, it was just phenomenal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can remember it like it was yesterday. And let's be very candid there, Dean. I got a lot of help. That guy that came up and said, hey man, how you doing? Not good, dude. Hey, you gonna walk tonight? No. Would you like to watch? Well, sure. And it's interesting, that guy, if not for him, right? I don't have this career. I'm not part of that. It's like the movie It's a Wonderful Life. George Bailey, right? Yeah, George.
Love that show.
You changed a lot of lives, George. So because of that guy, and again, Dean, I wish I knew who that guy was. I mean, he's just out there thinking, he just went up to some guy and said, "Hey man, you going to walk tonight? Yeah. Why don't you watch?" And he left. He has no idea the rippling effect that he caused. And that's a beautiful distinction for life. How
It
often do
is.
we go in a place where we get an opportunity and all we got to do sometimes is just smile?
Right.
I do something every year, and I got this from my good friend Gary King. Years ago, we were walking in a Home Depot, and we're walking in, and the girls are selling the Girl Scout cookies, right? And you know how they are; they're so cute, and they're all excited. You buy one box, and they're excited, right?
Yeah.
And so Gary walks up, and he walks right up to the den mother, and he's like, "Hey, girls, selling some cookies today?" "Yes, sir." They're so adorable, right? And he turns to the den mother and he said, "Listen, ma'am, I'd like to buy $200 worth of cookies." And all the girls go, "Oh, right, that's going to wipe them out, right?"
Sure.
And so he goes, "But there's a catch." And she said, "Okay, what's the catch?" And he goes, "I don't want the cookies. Here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. I want you to take the girls. I want you to take the cookies. And I want you to go to a retirement home. And I want you to find some people in that home that don't get any visitors.
Mm.
And I want you to take the girls and I want you to create some questions for them. And I want them to go in there and talk to those people and bring them the cookies." Well, I do that every year now. It's so powerful. In fact, the last year when I did it, the woman I went up to, she went out and told all the other den mothers. She goes, "You're not going to believe what just happened." Right? So they're kind of thinking, get companies, sponsorship, right? I sponsored a couple $100. So, that's the thing about it. Stop looking for magical moments and create them,
True.
right? Stop looking for heroes and be one. And so that's really, I don't know. I'm going to be 70 this year, Dean. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this. I'm in great shape. I take zero medications. Thank you very much, Big Pharma. I'm not interested in doing business with you. And I'm going to go out here and I'm going to give it the next few years, and I want to get in front of as many first responders, vets, kids, and single moms that I possibly can.
Well, you're
So
doing phenomenal work, sir. You
thank
don't
you.
look a day over 50.
I love you, man. Brother, come here. Let me give you a hug, man.
Well, hey, let's I gotta land this plane, but
Yes, sir.
so I can't imagine working with Tony Robbins. So I know I'm gonna ask you a hard question.
Sure.
What are three books you'd recommend and why?
Oh, man. That's pretty easy.
I
Uh,
figured it was, but
Think and Grow Rich.
yeah.
That's an easy one. Napoleon Hill. The Big Leap
Ah, yep,
by Gay Hendricks.
yep.
And then I think I got it right here in front of me.
Project
Project
369.
369. And if that one doesn't resonate with you, I've got a buddy of mine wrote a book, good friend of mine, Jeremy Newsom. Money Does Grow on Trees.
Haven't heard of that
This
one.
book will blow your mind. He shatters every limiting belief we've ever had about money. How many of us heard as a kid, money doesn't grow on trees?
Oh my gosh.
We're not made of money.
Okay, you can stop that right now since that's what I heard from my folks. I mean,
Right.
I heard that voice. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jeremy came along and said, "That's not true." Because I can tell you right now, money grows on trees. And it's funny, you know what? I live in Ashe County, North Carolina, which is in the top northwestern part of the state of North Carolina. And guess what? We grow more than any other county in the state or in America. Christmas trees.
Oh,
Oh yeah, money does grow on trees. Avocado trees, apple trees. What kind of tree do you want? It's the mindset, right?
right.
It's not like it's not in abundance. So yeah, Jeremy Newsom, Money Does Grow on Trees, phenomenal book. It will change your life. You implement some of the things he teaches you there, absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, that was
Wow.
it. I would actually put Money Does Grow on Trees first. I would put The Big Leap second, and then I'd put Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill third.
Just wrapped up the big leap actually
Did you?
last night. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, living in your zone of genius, are you?
Not yet. I'm getting there. I'm a work in progress.
Yeah, man. Good for you. It's a great book. Review it.
It
I
is
love it. It's very profound. By the way, Tony uses a lot of gay stuff, is what I'll say.
interesting. All right.
Yeah,
Sounds
absolutely.
like I need to attend one of his events.
I ain't gonna tell you not to. That's for sure. He was just live in Dallas. He just invited me to Dallas. He just did a firewalk in Dallas here a couple of months ago. My daughter and my son-in-law and my grandkids just moved to Granbury, Texas. It's about 45 minutes south of Fort Worth. So when he invited me, I'm like, sure, I'll come. I'm probably not going to spend much time with him. I'm going to spend it with my family, but that's okay.
I think you'll understand.
Yeah, he's
I
all
think you'll
right.
understand.
When I traveled the world with him, my kids were on the road with him, and he loved my kids so much. He was so good to them. He treated my kids like gold. And so, they had a nice exposure to all that.
That's
So
awesome.
certainly, yeah, right.
I
And by
mean,
the way, I get asked, so did your kids a firewalk? How old were they? My daughter was 6, my son was 9. There you have it.
that's
And
life
go look at them
changing.
today. They are incredible, incredible human beings. Was
Wow.
it because of the firewalk? I don't know. It sure didn't hurt.
I don't know. That the way you anchor that experience. I mean, yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, you're right. Can you imagine being a 6-year-old, 9-year-old kid on
No.
the road with Tony Robbins? Yeah,
Yeah, it's like a 6-year-old kid going into school. Hey, did you know I just walked on 1,000-degree coals? Kids be like, what?
yeah, right. Well, they were homeschooled, so they didn't really
Ah,
have that
even better.
opportunity, right?
Okay,
Yeah, right.
even
Yeah,
better.
we homeschooled them. Yeah, it was great. So good deal.
Well, sir, this has been phenomenal. I can't thank you enough. I mean, this is
Of course.
this conversation with you has been uplifting and
Thank you.
just, what you're going to do in April. I want to stay in touch
Please.
because I think that, you know, the loss that we experience with our brothers and sisters
Yeah,
and just you know, stop, get folks. I mean, I've been touched by suicide, I'll just say many times in my life. And so I can't say enough how thankful I am for what you're doing with what Ed's doing. I was on Ed's podcast and yeah, you guys you're changing lives.
that's a good dude, man. I love that dude, and I haven't even met him yet. I mean, I met him, but I haven't met him face to face, right? So yeah, he stepped right up, man. He's like, dude, I let's roll, let's go, and that's the beauty.
Yeah.
I'll guarantee you there's somebody out here listening to your podcast that's going to get involved. I can feel it. And so you made that happen. You brought me in,
Um,
so that's the beauty, and yourself. So, there's the power of two right there. That's community right there. So it's a beautiful thing, man. We'll
it
come
is.
be a part of it.
It is.
I'll get you a lighter.
I got to walk on the coals first.
Yes, you do. Yep. If
I'll
you
be
want
the
one of these, you
guy
got to
going,
walk on the
what?
coals. And if you want one of these containers, you got to walk on the coals. And
Yeah.
I guarantee it'll be one of the most profound experiences of your life.
I can already feel it. Already feel it.
Good deal.
Well, thank you, brother. And
Yeah,
I look
Dean.
forward to this coming out. And
Cool.
I will send people to firewalkadventures.com to make sure that they can see the videos and find out more about Firewalk Adventures and just
Cool.
absolutely amazing work you're doing.
Well, thanks, brother. Let's do it again.
You bet.